grant funding for their infrastructure program over the next 3 years. A need to maintain the existing infrastructure assets to the original condition results in the allocation of 13.8 billion, whilst 22 billion is availed to expand the capacity of the existing infrastructure and provide new infrastructure assets in response to the increasing demands for services. The remaining 1.4 billion, meaning there's 1.4 billion that we are not allocating, is mainly for the support required for the delivery of infrastructure. So the Gauteng provincial government is committed to good governance. We will continue to communicate to the residents of our province and all our stakeholders, including the media, to maintain transparency with regard to the work that we are doing, as well as how we allocate and spend resources to build an economy that grows in the hands of our communities, demands no less. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, there is the summary of the Gauteng provincial government budget. So the budget votes that are being presented and the details that are being provided are based on the allocations that have been made. We felt it's important that we summarize and we also refresh the memory of the public and of the media about the content of this budget, because we commit to be transparent and communicate consistently throughout our term of office. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MEC, for the summary of the budget. Colleagues, here is the statement from the MEC. Obviously, we'll also share it with you. It summarizes the budget of the Gauteng provincial government. We're now going to get into a Q&A session. We'll start on the right-hand side for questions to the MEC. You just need to say your name, surname, where the media house that you're coming from. I'm recognizing the hand at the back, and then another hand, any other hand from this side. And we can go ahead.
Okay, MEC, to the president from Highlands. MEC, what is your reaction in regards to the GA saying that they will not be supporting any of the budgets that you will put forward, and what the implications will be to these budgets going forward in the future?
Okay, any other hand, colleagues on the right-hand side before we move to the left-hand side? Maybe because it's one question, anything we can move to the middle. Colleagues in the middle, is there any, do you have any question for the MEC? At the back.
Thank you. This talk about how to
thank you very much. And then okay.
You can also speak which department is investing in
Thank you very much. And then on the left-hand side, colleagues, any questions? MEC, in the meantime, while the Prime Minister speaks, you can respond to the questions.
Yeah, I want to ask the HOD to deal with the last one. Who is battling to handle money? HOD, maybe you can just come here so that you deal, and then I'll deal with the other issues. Yeah.
Good morning, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. In terms of the question, which department is struggling to handle money, I think we'll need to put that in a context. The Department of Health, the pressure that it is receiving from the country as a whole, meaning that the other provinces and also the continent in terms of the services that they render. If you can look, Gauteng is the province that has the most tertiary institutions, so they offer services that you would not necessarily get in abundance from other provinces. So that's what makes the challenges of the Department of Health a little bit more than what other departments are experiencing. And so if you can look also on the fact that it's not like they are qualified, so it's not like they are doing things the incorrect way, is that there is a lot of pressure and demand for their services, which is not necessarily always accommodated in the budgets because the budget is informed by the population as per the numbers that we receive from Stats SA. Therefore, the population of Gauteng, as we all know, is sitting at about 15 million, and those are the figures that are used when we calculate the budgets. But in terms of the demand of the services, it goes over and above what has been allocated. There are interventions that are being put in place in terms of inter-provincial claims between the citizens that come from other provinces and come and seek for services. The area that is still a gap is how we deal then with patients that come from the continent, because that is another conversation that will still need to be held, because it's not one government, so it becomes more tedious than just claiming from another province. I hope that answers it.
Thanks, HOD. And in fact, just to add, in-migration is a problem, or rather a challenge, not just for health, even for education. But because health, as the HOD say, is about saving people's lives. If someone comes in and they are about to die, there must be an expensive operation. That's not budgeted for. They must do it. They can't say it's not in the budget. So I think that's what the HOD was trying to say. So in-migration it's a challenge for Gauteng, as you know, and that's why every year when we do the adjustment, the two departments that are always in the adjustment budget, it's health and education. Others, it varies depending on what they need. So we are closely monitoring that, and then the solar project has started. You will remember the Premier launched a program in Alexander Stwetla, I think a solar mini-grid program to supply the informal settlement of Stwetla. But you will also remember that our Department of Infrastructure Development has rolled out a solar program in about 27 hospitals, and we can give you a list. You can go and check that program. So it's a program that is continuing, and we are also continuing to work with the City Power as our implementing agent to roll it out throughout. So it has started. What we are doing now is to look for additional funding so that we can implement what we call home-based solar solutions, because there are several packages that are there. So the program is continuing, and it's working well so far. The party that says they don't adopt the budget, I think firstly let me say it's unfortunate that their reasons are based on falsehood and propaganda. Any party has got the right to participate or not to in the process, including voting for or against. But there's no party that has a right to peddle lies and propaganda. The lies that they're peddling is that firstly this budget is sitting at just over 4.5 billion rand deficit. It's not true. That's the first thing. I think the second lie that they peddled, which I had picked up, it's that this budget is not responding to the needs of the poor, which is not true, because in percentage terms, at least 80%, if I'm not wrong, of this budget goes to health and education, and it caters for public health and public schools, but it also subsidizes poor people who are in private schools, meaning those poor private schools, they are being subsidized. So it can't be that it's not a budget that is not responding to the needs. But thirdly, they failed to tell the public the truth that this budget is actually, this process is actually to conclude the process started in the 6th administration, and that there are new priorities which the Premier will be articulating on the 15th of August. And after those, we will be consulting with all the political parties, because we are aware that we don't have the 50% plus one. So you need to canvass everybody, and hence we are confident today that we are able to pass this budget, because all other parties are reasonable, except this other party that I don't want to call by name. So from where we are sitting, all the parties will be supporting the budget, and we should be able to continue with service delivery. And we want to assure the public that the budget that we are busy putting together is going to respond to the prevailing circumstances that they find themselves, and also is going to be about solving the challenges that the people are facing. And of course, if the budget is not voted for, it means service delivery will be halted. It means we won't be able to pay salaries of the public servants, and we won't be able to give kids food in schools. We won't be able to give medication to patients in hospitals. We won't be able to do anything. So that's why we want to thank all the parties who are going to vote for the budget for putting the interests of the people first, not the narrow party interests, because we know that this other party and the ANC could not agree on working together. So this has nothing to do with the content of the budget, but everything to do with the narrow, selfish interests of this party.
Thank you very much, MEC. Colleagues, let's the next round of questions before MEC will remove the MEC to present to attend the sitting. We'll start here. We'll move it in control.
I saw we are going to pass we are concerned that projects such as Nexus Funding is streamlined. What does that mean in the context of this budget and the application of such programs? But also, the issue of payment of service providers by provincial governments has been the course that has been that Gauteng is doing better in terms of paying service providers on time, which leads to small businesses being affected heavily by that. So is there any plan that is in place to address that issue? The issues of human sacrifice, we've seen in the past few years many housing projects being built but not occupied due to various lack of consultation of any other reasons. So is there any plan to ensure that the issues of human sacrifice, where they build more projects and actually those projects being occupied and people movements. So in terms of financing the human settlements department, are there any strategies to sort out problems that are in that department? Also in terms of crime, the Premier is calling for more budget in order to be allocated to fight against crime. Generally, what is your attitude to the Treasury of Gauteng towards these issues?
Thank you very much. Last question, colleagues, before we hand over to the MEC. MEC, you can go ahead.
No, there's no shift in financing job creation. That's why you'll see we are spending 37 billion on, just over 37 billion on infrastructure. And I think you will appreciate that once, and this is not just social infrastructure. So one of the things we want to do is to focus on economic infrastructure. Later on today, I will be presenting the budget vote for the Department of Economic Development. So we will state some of those things. But apart from that, Premier will also unveil some of our interventions in the economy. And these are huge multi-billion rand initiatives that must translate into economic growth and job creation. So job creation is not just about government creating jobs. Private sector has even a bigger responsibility. It's about us as government creating a conducive environment. And it's about us as government making sure that it's no longer costly to do business. Because one of the reasons that makes it difficult for businesses to invest, whether local investors or foreign investors, is because the cost of doing business is high for a number of reasons, including the unreliability of energy, the infrastructure of water, and many other issues. And there are also macroeconomic issues that, as you know, national government and I think the Reserve Bank as well on the monetary side is dealing with those issues. So when we deal with job creation, it's not just about Nasispani. Nasispani, it's an intervention to deal with the immediate challenge that is facing us. But overall, our strategy is to grow the economy so that the economy should be able to be sustainable and should be able to create jobs, because it's not sustainable for government alone to create jobs. In fact, dealing with the question that the colleague from Kaya was raising linked to this, one of the reasons why that other party is rejecting this is saying our wage bill is high. That's what they said. So what they are not saying is that the two departments with big wage bill, it's education and it's health. And the reason why their wage bill is it's high is because when you look at the personnel in the two departments, you must look at them in the context of the tools of trade. So you can't have a school without a teacher. You can't have a hospital without a nurse, without a doctor and all that. So that's what I'm saying is based on falsehoods. And I'm now being remembered because it's very important to put this in context. Because to say the wage bill is high, it's like government is reckless. And it then feeds into this propaganda that Nasispani was just about creation and jobs for PALS, a scheme and all that. And it also want to create an impression that the wage bill is high because of Nasispani. No, it's not true. Whether there's Nasispani or not, the wage bill will always be high. We are building more schools. So Premier will announce how many schools we want to build every year. We are going to build more hospitals. The more hospitals you build, the more schools you build, the more teachers, more nurses, more doctors. So our wage bill will always be high because the people that you need to be able to run these important institutions needs to be paid. So I hope on that issue, so this budget and the budget that we're going to present now in March, you will see it deals decisively on the issues of economy. And then the issue that or the payment of service providers, let me put it on record, and without fear of any contradiction, that the Gauteng provincial government pays its service providers within 15 days. Gauteng provincial government, except for the Department of Health. As the HOD was saying, there are challenges of cash flow, accruals, baseline, complicated, which we are dealing with. And we are confident that we'll be able to deal. But everybody else pays people within 15 days, and it's a self-imposed timeline. It's not in the law. The law says 30 days. So I'm putting this, so your headline should be Gauteng government pays those who do business with it. I'm giving you a good headline. Don't talk about the other party not voting for the budget and all that. So the headline should be Gauteng, a responsible government that pays people within 15 days. However, it doesn't mean that there are no challenges in certain areas. From time to time, there are challenges on the part of the departments, on the part of the service providers. That's why one of the things we have done, because sometimes invoices are disputed by departments. So if your invoice is disputed, of course, you won't be paid in 15 days or in 30 days or whatever, because your invoice is disputed. That is why we've put an invoice dispute ombudsman, so that those who've got disputes with departments, they can take those invoices to the dispute ombudsman, and once they are resolved, they are paid. I'm no longer a Ministry of Human Settlement, but the budget, as you can see, it gives human settlement a lot of money. I think when you combine the grant and the equitable share, I think it's just over 5 billion, close to 6 billion. And we know that they are historic and they are specific. It's not a lot. I can count them. Projects where houses were built, but there are no services like water, or rather there's no bulk. And these projects were done long time ago, a lot of them, except just one here in the city of Joburg, which is dependent on Eskom putting electricity. And then because these are high-rise, it will not be safe for government to allocate. A lot of things can happen. Crime, kids, women could be attacked and all that. But I know the city of Joburg had put aside a budget for that, and they had started. I know there's another one in somewhere in the West Rand, which I think there was a problem of bulk connection, and there was money available from the part of government, but the developer did not use the money. And as a result, by the time I left in the Department of Human Settlement, they had started the process of terminating that developer. I was told by MEC of Human Settlement yesterday that they've ultimately terminated that. So it's not rife, it's not everywhere that there are a lot of houses built and not occupied. It's very few, and in the coming few months we are prioritizing that, and we will definitely solve that. We've got a competent, capable, vibrant MEC for human settlement who certainly deal with that. So more budget for crime. We definitely need more budget for crime. So if you don't fight crime, you will not be able to attract investment. If you don't fight crime, it means you are not a caring government, because your citizens are vulnerable. And that's why we are prioritizing crime. And you will hear when the Premier announces, because I don't want to preempt the state of the province. I'm not the Premier. I wish I was one. I'm not one. So I don't want to tell you what the Premier will say, except to guarantee you that you will appreciate what the Premier will say about the bold plans that we have for this province. We've got a vision. We've got bold plans, and that's why we urge all political parties to work with us in the interest of the citizens and of taking this province forward. So once the Premier announces all those details, which includes, I can tell you, job creation, which includes fighting crime and other important issues, but he will provide the details. Thank you. Is this mine?
Colleagues, if there's any other question, then we will close the briefing.
We can take one-on-ones quickly because we started 10 at site. It's fine. Yeah, but they would have to be to move quicker. Yeah.
So, colleagues, thank you very much. We'll close the briefing now, but we'll take one-on-ones because there's still time between now and the time when the MEC goes to the House. But thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much, MEC.
So don't forget the headline. I'll be watching. Especially you, Sningo.